like very much to do this combination because I think it shows in one single program what Haydn achieved in terms of symphonic composer. I mean, he made the symphony. When you see what the symphony was when he started, and of course, number one, it's not his first symphony. There are two of them called A and B, and the A in B flat is apparently the first one. But you see what the symphony was in number one. It was a very short piece, 10 minutes long, with a lot of repeats to make it a little longer. The third movement was practically nothing, a little short dance. Second movement was more elaborate, and the first movement had something, but that was the start of the symphony. And you read the 100, the military symphony, and that's a glory of a symphony. I mean, the whole structure of the symphony had been invented and filled with beautiful, glorious themes. On that military symphony particularly, there are some fabulous ideas inside who had a little to do with the War of the 30 Years between an empress who was always bearing child and a king who was an intellectual. And that war, who starts already in the first movement with a very elegant theme, that was a war between gentlemen when the prisoners were leaving. I mean, if an officer or a commander was prisoner, he was living in the enemy's commander house under the word that he never got away. And it was a war between gentlemen. And on that war, Haydn wrote an incredible music. Themes, for instance, with Epiphanos that start the theme of the first movement, which that is the military theme of that second movement. It's a song. I mean, the soldiers get together on the nights of the 30-year war and tell stories. And what are they going to tell? About a beautiful girl. And of course, the girl was French, as La Belle said. Probably every story that they told was not true, but that is how it worked, and it's the soldier's tale. And Haydn wrote a beautiful movement on that French theme. And at one point, a roll of the drum comes, and the trumpet, and that reminds that they are still at war. The minuet is the real elegant personification of the minuets of the time, the elegance of that music. And the last movement is one of the first virtuoso pieces written for an orchestra. So Haydn, in all his symphonies, I think it is around the Trauer Symphony, the number 44, when he really discovered what a last movement of a symphony in relation with the first should be. And after that, he developed and developed and developed. And I mean, these last symphonies, like the 100 or the 104, or the last movements are masterpieces of an incredible virtuosity and music. But the relation between both symphonies is fantastic. I like sometimes to do that. For instance, I did once in a festival with the Wiener Symphoniker, the first Haydn symphony and Bruckner 5, without interval. So to see how the development of the symphony was, where it started, where it finished. And I have done it also with, for instance, the Trauer Symphony and the Alpen Symphony. And that is also a piece where, I mean, people can really see and look. Here in this particular contest, there is not a symphony, but it's a glorious music from the Meistersinger. I mean, the third act of the Meistersinger is one of the most beautiful symphonic music ever written, the Schusterstube. We don't play much of that. We do a recapitulation of the opera, which I think has the most important part, starting with the overture, leading into the choral of the first act. Then on the second act we show another part, which is the Lehrbuben and the music who belongs to these students. And then the first monologue of Sachs. And then we go to the third act, play the marvelous overture, not well, but preludium, who describes what Hans Sachs was as a man and as a composer. His famous chorale comes there in. And then we have the second monologue, one monologue from Sachs, and then we go to the Wiese, to the ending of the last act of the opera, and there we play all the entrance of the people, all the Meistersinger, and we make the chorale with the chorus that we made in the preludium, and then Sachs sings his famous "Verachtet mir die Meister nicht," and then we go to the last minute of the opera. I think it makes, all in all, great symphonic music to go with the two symphonies. I have had the pleasure of doing the Meistersinger, the opera, the complete opera, a lot of times. We had a very beautiful production by Götz Friedrich, who was the intendant of the opera when I was in Berlin, the Generalmusik Director in the Deutsche Oper Berlin. And we had a beautiful production of Meistersinger. We made a beautiful video, and we played it even in Japan. There is, of course, the similarity when Strauss talks about the Widersacher and the Beckmesser in the opera of Wagner. But the treatment is very different. Strauss scores the Widersacher. I mean, he makes fun of them in a nice way, but he makes fun of them. Wagner makes more fun in the libretto than in the music, because, of course, when the Beckmesser sings his Preislied, that he confuses all the words, I mean, that makes him to appear stupid or ridicule. But there is an element which should not be forgotten. The music in the first act and in the Schusterstube for the best Beckmesser is probably the most modern music that Wagner wrote. Everybody who takes the music on that knows that on the end Wagner knew that Beckmesser may have been wrong on that, but he was a Meistersinger. Strauss didn't thought that the Widersacher were Meistersingers.
Gewiss, gehen schon Reden hin und wieder, den Beckmesser, denk ich, senkt ihr doch nieder. Ich meine, dass der Neid sich nicht wichtig macht.
Wohl möglich, hab mir's auch schon bedacht. Jetzt geh und stör mir den Jungen nicht. Komm wieder.